Hello, my name's Tom Cahill. The date is 21st of October 2013. I'd just like to do a quick video. I should have done this video a long time ago. In part, the reason I haven't done it is because, as with most people in life, I don't always take my own advice, and there is a reason why. There is sort of like an excuse as well, which I can attach to this, but I have never actually used it for 2 months. And you're meant to use it for 2 months, and they tell you to use it for 2 months, and they say then you just top it up once in a while. Now, I talk about the Bob Beck, that's B-O-B space B-E-C-K, or Robert Beck Zapper, or blood pulser. Now, he's got some other little contraptions that he came up with, but he makes it very clear that he didn't invent them. He just slightly tweaked the design so that they could be, I don't know what the word for inside and outside means, in vitro or whatever. There was a patent for this thing that you could cut somebody's arm open and stick things, electric pulses, in their arm, but it would be operated on, and it cost a fortune to do. So only really rich people would be able to do it. There's a patent, I can't remember what the number of the patent is. Maybe I'll put it in the description bar. Not important. The point is, what this Beck, he claims, and I've never seen anyone like knock anything back he said, so I presume it's all true, that he invented flash photography before he finished university, and he basically paid his university fees off with it. Didn't really make anything out of it, but you know, like, he was a well-established scientist of like note. Now, he was a doctor, but he was not a medical doctor, and basically he worked with a lot of stuff to do with radio type waves and stuff, and people's brains and electricity waves. He was an expert on electrical type stuff, and what he found is that if you electrify your blood supply, you can take out the pathogens which live in your blood. And he reckons most people have, I think it's like 1 kilo worth of pathogens living in their blood, really, really small ones. Now, the good thing about this Robert Beck was he's an intelligent guy. You can tell this. There's just no question of it. And when he says things, it resonates as being true because he's intelligent and he knows how to explain something to an audience so that they just wouldn't really have much doubt that he's telling the truth. And of course, seeing is believing. So I bought one of his little contraptions, and I'll explain about that in a bit. But the point is that he, being intelligent, and you have to be quite intelligent to be able to do this, is that if you're not very intelligent, right, it's easy to lay a guilt trip on you. So it's easy to say, oh, you're fat because, you know, you're basically a fat cunt, basically. That's it. It's your fault. Whereas people who are a little bit more intelligent go, what the fuck's going wrong? You know, I'm not doing anything wrong here. You know, you can kind of externalize problems because obviously everything's your fault when it comes down to it. But the point is, you can say, well, there must be a good reason, you know, and if there's a good reason, then, you know, like, what I can change it. Just feeling guilty about it is not going to help you get thinner or whatever it is you want to do. And of course, if you know about your subconscious doesn't deal in negatives as per it, basically binary. It's like you either mention something or you don't mention it. If you mention it, like I'm saying mention, I'm using the wrong word there, but your subconscious can take it on board. It can't mention not eating biscuits. It can just see eating biscuits. That's all it can see. Or you don't mention the biscuits. So if you thought you'd been drinking a bit too much and you've been going down to the pub after work every day, what you'd do is you'd start doing something that would mean you couldn't go down to the pub every day. Like, for instance, you might go to the gym instead, or you might start thinking, you've got children or somebody who needs some help with something. You'll think about that in the day at work, and then you'll go and do that. So you won't go to the pub because you've got to do that thing, or you know that you need to get up early in the morning because you've got to go to the gym. So you don't want to get drunk because there's just no way you can get up in the morning. So you don't focus on the negative thing and not doing it because that's impossible. You focus on something you need to do, and therefore you just wouldn't even dream of doing it. Probably, hopefully, that would be the plan anyway. Yeah, maybe just 1 or 2 like that. The point is, that's the way it works. Same with smoking, same with everything. But anyway, the thing with this Robert Beck is, he came to the conclusion that, you know, over the years, all sorts of pathogens have somehow found their way into your body, and as soon as you're born, loads of them get into you straight away, and basically they trick you into, in certain instances, thinking that you're hungry, when you're not hungry, and he reckons that if you chopped open the stomach of like a mammoth that had been buried under the ice for several thousand years, it will have these pathogens in it, and these pathogens are making you think you're hungry when you're not hungry, because they kind of feed off you, and it's just something like a nasty little side effect they have. Anyway, this blood pulsar, what do you call it, Beck Zapper, there's a company called Socha Instruments that make them. Now, I bought one of them off this Socha Instruments, and then this scumbag said that his wife had cancer and he wanted to borrow it, so I sent him it. And he just was a complete cunt. His name's Richard Hobbis, Hobbis. And he basically didn't, I think he's a northerner, I don't know where from north, I think Leeds or somewhere. Anyway, the point was, this guy wouldn't give it back, because he's one of these people. Scousers do it. What they do is they borrow something, then they find an excuse to fall out with you so they don't have to give it back. And it's like, what anyone who knows Scousers do it. It's very dishonest. They just sort of think, I want to keep that thing, and they sort of weigh up whether it's, well, will you come around and beat them up? Probably not, because, you know, if you live there, you probably will. But, you know, they realise that you're not going to do anything about it, so they just think, oh, I'll just steal it, I'm not going to see him again. They do it all the time. Lots of very nasty fucking lowlives do it, but it's a particular Scouser trick. I'm not just slagging off Scousers gratuitously here. I know like Scousers are very amusing. I know quite a lot of Scousers I quite like, but it is a Scouser trick. And he was doing it, but he's not a Scouser. But the thing is, a Scouser is Liverpudlian if you don't know, right? Yeah, but anyway, this guy wouldn't give it back. Now, I bought another one, right? So I bought another one. If I'd really been ripped off, again, get back to the subconscious, if I thought I'd been ripped off, I wouldn't have bought another one, would I? It'd been a perfect excuse not to buy another one. Go, oh, well, you've lost it now, you know. Oh, I wasn't stupid to buy it, but it got stolen. You know, it'd be the perfect out, you know. So I think if I bought two, then that means that obviously I do believe they work, because they're about 200 quid or something like that. The first time it's more like 100 quid, the second time it's about 200 quid about 2 years later. Anyway, if you use these things, there is a couple of problems with them. Like, they do have a tendency to sort of burn your wrist. Like, they sort of drop. I don't really know how, because you know, and if you use them with salt water, like he says you should, with me, it's just impossible. They hurt too much. It itches. It starts burning my skin. I get little scars. But because you put them on your wrist, these things, you see. And the thing is that I've tried them out on a few different people. All the people who've used them all seem to think they have amazing effects straight away. Now, for an absolute fact for me, and I don't, you know, I'm telling this is a statement of fact. This is not psychosomatic. If you use, you start noticing effects straight away. But the downside is, right, if you use these blood pulsars, and this is how you can prove they work. If you go and have a few beers, right, and he was actually saying this on his video, but you kind of like get like very, very drunk, but not drunk in the normal way that you get drunk. Like with me, normally my head goes first, like I will just forget things, I'll be like a bit of I'll just be like turning into a zombie if I drink too much, right? That's what will happen. I won't be falling all over. I might slur my feet a little bit, and I might slur my words slightly, but by the time that's the case, I've already had far too much, and I'm probably going to be like, you know, a vegetable. I'm the brain of a vegetable. 5 minutes later, it's past. I'm not one of these people who gets nicely drunk. I go from not being drunk to like completely fucked straight away. You know, it's like a tip. It's like a switch. But you see, the point with me was, what was happening was, like, I'd use it and my legs would go and my legs wouldn't work, and I'd be like, fucking hell, like I'd be like, just couldn't walk and stuff. And I think it's very weird. So like, if you're in England, and I work contract, so I don't have like a straight employment. So you all of a sudden the contract finishes. You never know when it's going to finish. They just tell you to basically fuck off. We don't need you anymore. So you need to look for another job. So you might have to go to job interviews, go and meet people. You go and do this, go and do that. I have to, like, sometimes I don't really know when I'm going to be. If I say, well, I'm not going to drink, sometimes I have to go to places where I'm going to have to drink. So I kind of, I have to drink, but you know, you're gonna. And of course, other people don't feel comfortable if you're not drinking. So, like, if they can sort of find an excuse to go out. If you're just sitting there not drinking, they won't relax into it. They won't enjoy it, and they'll be like, "Why aren't you drinking?" You know what I'm trying to say? So, if it's a work-related thing, sometimes you actually have to. So, even if you knock all social stuff on the head, which again is not really a very good idea, you have to. Now, so it definitely has an effect on you when you're drunk. Right now, think about it. Basically, alcohol, fair enough, it affects your body as well as your brain, but it's affecting it via your brain, isn't it, right? So if you're putting something on your wrist and then it's affecting your brain, right? That's linking. That system is linking. So even if this Bob Beck's making wrong presumptions, there's definitely a link between the blood that's going through or something that's going through your wrist and your brain. Now, and if it continues to happen 2 days after you've had the thing attached to you or whatever, then definitely it's doing something, isn't it? So that's how I can test it. But also it's a pain because, of course, it's burning you. So sometimes you just can't be bothered to put the thing on. You're meant to put it on for 2 hours at a time. And they also say keep it on for 2 months, and it's a bit much because it kind of irritates you a bit when you're using it. But the point is, these things, they're kind of slightly amazing. And again, I haven't taken my own advice, and sometimes you just cannot be bothered using it, But the point is, they are brilliant. Now, I don't like recommending things to people very much unless I absolutely know they work. And I've tried it on a few people, like some visitors have come around the house, and I'll say, try this thing. A lot of people are like, no, I'm not using it, no. They get really, really scared because it's like they're just fucking idiots and they're scared of absolutely everything. And they don't want to be like taking that step against, convention of any type whatsoever ever. And they'd rather die of cancer or something than try something new. But you see, the point is, if you have a go at one of these things, you will be amazed. They do something. Now, I've come across 1 or 2 people say they didn't really do anything for them, but they were always people who ate very, very clean food, were very, very they knew a lot about stuff like that, and I think they can use it for like a few days and it wouldn't really make necessarily a noticeable difference. But you see, if you're, and unhealthiness is quite a wide band of different types of unhealthiness, I think it affects them a lot more. And like, for instance, I had a guy staying with Crazy Greg Hallett was staying with me for a bit, and he used it. He used it once. He'd been to sleep for about 8 hours, because I remember when he went to bed and I remember when he got up in the morning. And he used it after about an hour of being up. He used it for 2 hours. He used it for 2 hours and he went back to bed for like 8 hours. He was just completely, he said it was fucking brilliant, but he was completely just he said, and this is the thing, your sleep pattern completely changes. Like, sometimes it just makes you absolutely knackered. Like, you could stay awake, you wouldn't fall to sleep, if you went to work. You don't be worrying about not being able to go to work the next day or something like that. Don't worry about that. But, like, if you've got the opportunity to sleep, sometimes, like, when you've done lots of exercise or you've had a really kind of like full day, sometimes you just feel like you've just knackered. And it does do that. But other times, you'll be using it, and let's say you start using it at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you stay up till, say, 3 o'clock, which is obviously you don't really want to stay up that long. And then the next thing, you'll wake up at like fucking 6 o'clock in the morning and you'll feel like you don't even need to go to bed. It's absolutely incredible. And I just couldn't really recommend people try them enough. Now, there are other companies that make these things, and obviously Bob Beck put the blueprints up so you can look. If you know what you're doing, you can make them yourself. You can actually make them yourself, but I don't really know about electronics, so I don't really know how you do it. But Bob Beck, they're called a silver pulser because it also can make colloidal silver, and they give you 2 little silver wires with it. But if you get one, there's lots of different competitors, but I've not tried them, so I don't know. I'm sure you can get them cheaper than a silver pulser. I'm sure they're a bit of a rip-off, really. They're way more expensive than the other ones. Well, I say a rip-off, maybe that's wrong of me to say that, because Soda, for instance, are actually very responsive. If you speak to them, they're very, very polite, very friendly. They get back to you with any answers. And they say, look, we're constantly getting sued. And because we're like the people to go to for it, we're the ones who get sued. Those little companies don't get sued because no one even knows who they are. They're just some guy in China or whatever, or somewhere in the middle of the mountains in America who's just wiring these little things up all day. They don't get attacked. I think they get them made in China, but they then get them sent to Canada, and then they sell them from Canada. But in America, they wouldn't be legal. And it's just interesting that, when I say they're a rip-off, I mean like they're expensive. They're more expensive, but I haven't tried the other ones. But anyway, basically, this Beck reckons you can cure absolutely anything with these. He reckons you can cure cancer. He reckons you can cure AIDS and all that stuff. He said easily curable with them. Obviously, the more educated ones, you'll realise there's more cures for cancer. It's easier to cure cancer than it is to like get up for half 5 in the morning. There's so many cures for it, like, you know, they're finding new ones all the time. They're they're in abundance. There's more cures for cancer than I've got hot dinners. You didn't really used to get any cancer in the old days, as you probably know, and all this bullshit about misdiagnosis, you know, that's absolute bollocks. It's just bollocks. There was this French guy who wrote this book with about 3,500 ailments in it 300 or so years ago. You know, all sorts of like sub-variants of very rare diseases. They had them all logged. A lot of them, the new diseases though, they've come along, you know, because of the poison in the food and the water supply, and, you know, like stuff like soap and stuff's got like aluminium and stuff like that in it. That's how that's happening. You know, a lot of these things are bioaccumulating and they're getting stuck in your system. But anyway, hopefully, I know it's a bit of a long video, possibly, but see, the thing with these things is if you're thinking about buying one and they cost a bit of money, you want to know about them. And my name's Tom Carhill. I bought one. Somebody stole one off me. I bought another one. They cost, you know, it's a couple of £100. And now that I've got a little window opening up in front of me where I'm going to have a bit of time where I can have a little free run at using it, I'm getting a bit of change of circumstances. I'm probably going to give it another whirl. That's one thing. I did recommend it to this guy who lived in Slovakia. He told me, and again, I don't like recommending to people, especially because I didn't know this guy really well, and I didn't know what his financial circumstances are, because some people, you know, you just don't know, but other times people even lie about financial circumstances. You don't want to be telling people, "I'll get this thing," because they might be quite poor, and you know, you might be telling them to get something, and they just say, "What the fuck," you know what I mean? This idiot's, you know, you don't want to waste people's times. I told him to get it. He was like, "That's the best money I ever spent. Absolutely brilliant." I won't even go into what he said it did for him, but it sorted lots and lots and lots of things out. It made him feel like 10 years, 15 years younger. He just doesn't stop banging on about how absolutely brilliant it was. And as a result of this recommendation, like everything if I said to him, "You want to do this, you want to do that," and he's not an easily persuaded person. He's bright, this guy is. He'd just be like, you know, it's like he's just so pleased about it, you know. And again, I said I don't want to bang on about it too much because you'll think I'm working for them and I'm, you know, some kind of con artist or something. And I am actually very good at selling stuff, but I don't want to come across like the hard sell or anything like that, because I can get people to buy things. But I think in this instance, I'd rather people just take it seriously. Bob Beck. There's 2 films he wrote. I mean, he wrote, what am I talking about? There's 2 films he did, both of which have absolutely shit sound quality. So you basically have to wire up speakers. You won't be able to listen to it off the laptop. It's a bit too scratchy. And also, because of the fact that it goes on for ages and you're just looking at this old man in a jumper wandering around, you're talking through a lecture, you'd be better off like lying down, listening to it in bed, because each of them are 2 hours long. They're quite, you know, that's a bit long for watching, sitting bolt upright in a chair, especially when it's coming round to winter. Anyway, thanks very much. Get in touch if you've got any questions. I'll try as best I can to answer them. Thanks very much.